Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Joanne Smedley, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Squadron Leader Bruce Chalmers. We warmly welcome the family of Flight Lieutenant Raymond Harold Charles Sly, whose story will be told shortly. We warmly welcome Air Commodore retired Peter McDermott, representing Air Force Association. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in the singing of the national anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Flight Lieutenant Raymond Harold Charles Sly. Raymond Sly was born in the Sydney suburb of Burwood on the 1st of October 1921, the son of Harold and Ivy Sly. He grew up in Sydney's inner west and attended Fort Street Boys' School in Petersham. He later worked as a cadet draftsman in the New South Wales Department of Mines. Sly enlisted into the Royal Australian Air Force on the 22nd of July 1940 and soon began training at the No. 2 Initial Training School at Bradfield Park. In November 1940, he sailed for Canada, where he would train as part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, a system by which airmen from across the British Commonwealth trained for service with the Royal Air Force. Sly trained as a fighter pilot, gaining his flying badge in March 1941. A reliable, capable, and popular airman, he was a keen footballer who worked well with his teammates, who was promoted on several occasions, granted a commission as an officer, and eventually attained the rank of flight lieutenant. In April 1941, he sailed from Canada to the United Kingdom to continue his training and prepare for action against the German Air Force. In late August 1941, he was posted to No. 452 Squadron, the first Australian squadron to form in Britain as part of the Empire Air Training Scheme. This squadron flew Spitfire fighter aircraft in escort duties over German-occupied France and Belgium and conducted defensive patrols over the English Channel. In March 1942, Sly transferred to No. 457 Squadron, another Australian fighter squadron. In May, he was attached to No. 185 Squadron, RAF, and took part in an operation to transport a number of Spitfires from the United Kingdom to Malta, where they were desperately needed to assist in persistent air assaults by enemy attack aircraft. In the early hours of the 9th of May, 1942, Sly successfully landed at his destination, the Halfar Aerodrome in southern Malta. But once on the ground, his aircraft came under attack from German fighters. During the chaotic attack, Sly attempted to take off again so as to engage the enemy, but crashed as he attempted to do so. He was taken to the No. 90 General Hospital at Matafa with serious injuries and died soon after. He was 20 years old. Today, his remains lie buried in the Malta Cappuccini Naval Cemetery, where nearly 700 casualties of the Second World War now lie. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, amongst almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flight Lieutenant Raymond Harold Charles Sly, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
If you are able, please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last toast.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old, Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening.